Hello and welcome back to Happily Ever Reality. If it is your first time here, welcome for the first time. This is a recap and commentary about the Season 16, Episode 3 of the show Sister Wives. This episode starts off with all of the ladies meeting along with Cody to talk about Coyote Pass again. I'm going to be honest, I find this to be a little bit boring. Though it does show that there's a lot of tension. Like, people don't seem very comfortable when they're talking about the property. The only positive thing I saw coming out of it was that they were kind of joking and having a sense of humor. Janelle pointed out that she wanted to have some greenhouses. She didn't want a piece of the property that had a lot of trees because she wanted to grow plants. Mary joked that she didn't care as long as she provided her with some food. I found their interactions to be very light and very happy, but that was only with Janelle and Mary. I felt like Robin and Christine were just very unhappy during this scene. And I think it's one of those situations where no one's going to be completely happy. There has to be some sort of compromise. When you're looking at the layout of how they're drawing the boundaries or, the different properties, you can see that two of them are really big, two of them are small, and one is almost all a pond, and that's Cody's. Robin takes one of the bigger lots. Janelle takes one of the bigger lots, and she justifies it that she needs to have a place for her greenhouses. That leaves the two smaller lots, but they do have trees, and from what Christine said, that's considered an asset in Arizona to have a property that already has trees. So, you're giving up size to have trees. So in theory, they're trying as much as possible to be fair. Christina's just not happy with not having lot 4. She feels like the greenhouses are just, more important than what she wants and where she wants to live. But she decides to take it. What surprised me, though, was you would think she would be a little bit upset with Janelle, but she really seems to take it out on Mary. And I have a hard time with figuring out if this moment was supposed to be sarcastic or funny, or if it's serious, because to me this sounds really serious. So listen and tell me what you think.
All right, I'm not in love with the new configuration. It seems like it's very, very small. I don't like it. I don't want to be that close to you.
Right.
No,
I
I'm
was
not
just
that
trying
close.
to say it nicer.
Yeah, I wasn't going to.
I've known her for a lot of years. She doesn't want to be that close to me.
Your lot.
It sounds so serious. It sounds so mean. And I really like Christine, and I actually really like Mary. I'm floored that Christine is being so forward about not wanting to be by Mary. These lots look big enough that if with the houses and the trees, and you're not going to be so neighborly that you have to be in each other's space. So I was just really surprised when I heard her say that. So it appears at this point they've all agreed on what properties they're going to have. They say a prayer together. But at this time, as they're praying, the audio from that scene kind of goes down and you get a voiceover from Christine. And she says that all the best she can do on that day is just pretend. Because she's not really happy. She still wants to go to Utah. And she genuinely just sounds very, very sad. So it didn't end on that good note. And they were celebrating. The group appeared very happy when they agreed on the properties. But then you hear Christine and that's just not true. So the next scene shows the family all coming together at Christine's house. And Christine has told them she wants them all together, come together, including the kids, to talk about the property. And Robin expresses that she thinks this is going to be a bad idea. But when they get there, she has a TV set up, and it is clear that this is not about the property. McKelty and Tony are on the screen, and they announce that they're having a baby. And, it's the first time in a long time that this family seems genuinely happy together as a group. Everything else has involved conflict. Even the get-together they had in episode 2 of season 16, there was some conflict at the end. They're all sitting in seats, they're socially distancing, but they seem genuinely happy. Mary, Janelle, and Christine all talk about how they're excited and they love being grandmas And Robin says it too, but I have to tell you, when you're listening to Robin, it's almost like she says, I'm very excited, or I'm so excited, but she says it, it's almost like the least excited expression that a person could have on their face ever. Like, her face and her words do not match. I'm so excited with the most not excited face ever. But everyone seems to be having a wonderful time, and they cheer, and they ask tons of questions about the baby, and everyone seems very, very happy. So we go from having this like really like upbeat, happy moment where we get a baby announcement to Christine and Cody back at Coyote Pass. I'm starting to say Cody and Coyote the same. We see Cody at Coyote Pass with Christine, and he's there to apologize because during the last episode, he made it seem that he was interested in possibly going back to Utah, but then when they got together as a group, he really seemed to sort of turn on her and then side with the other wives, and I think she felt blindsided. Like, she thought he was on her side and they were going to be a team, and then he wasn't on her side. So he goes there to apologize, and let me tell you, she was not having it. She definitely was polite when she was sitting there with him, but she really let her truth out when she was in the confessional. And you start to see that Christine is over everything he says. And I just want you to hear this little clip of her in the confessional.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk to him. I don't trust a word. There. It's because I don't trust a word that's coming out of his mouth.
Did you hear how she said there? Like, she's really just saying, like she's letting him have it when she finally says the truth, and she doesn't trust him and she doesn't want to be there. So I feel like we saw in the last episode, I felt like where Christine was starting to be very honest and truthful about how she felt, but we're seeing it even more now. And I have something else to mention. Christine in episode 1 to episode 3 looks a lot healthier. I don't know the order, like how they film it, if there's a lot of time in between those, or the confessionals are filmed close together, but she looks better. She looks like healthier. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But we're seeing Christine is not happy, and she's telling the truth about it while she's sitting out there with him. But she also starts to like hint at this isn't just about the sister wives, but she doesn't seem ready to say it. So listen to this.
I feel like I'm constantly dealing with the situation with Christine where I can't make her happy. She won't be happy with anything. And now I'm starting to wonder what's going on.
I think it's interesting to listen to Cody talk about their marriage during this scene, because he really does seem oblivious to the fact that Christine might not be happy with their marriage. He really thinks it's like an issue with the sister wives, and then an issue with not being in Utah, which I think Utah is some of it, but I think their marriage is playing a bigger role in this than he is realizing.
Why would I want to live on the same property with a dysfunctional marriage where right over there he's got a full functioning marriage? Who in their right mind would ever want to live like that?
Isn't it interesting that Christine talks about the health of their marriage, while Cody only talks about the relationships between the sister wives? Like, to him, the problem is, oh, they're all not good friends, so our marriage isn't working. Where I think for Christine, a healthy marriage with Cody would have made it easier for her to have friendships with the sister wives. But he doesn't seem to see it that way. But I think if you're watching the show, you can definitely see how Christine's kind of order of how it works does make sense. Why would she work so hard to have relationships with women she might not really necessarily get along with if they weren't in the same family? Why would she work hard at those relationships if the marriage that is bringing her to them isn't even doing well?
Maybe she just doesn't want to be near the other sister wives. I don't know. She wasn't happy in Lehigh, and she wasn't happy in Las Vegas. If she's not going to be happy if we don't move to Utah, what can I do?
In defense of Cody here, I do think that Christine has been unhappy with their marriage for a long time. So I can see where he's saying, I don't know what to do. But on the flip side of this, can Cody not acknowledge that their marriage isn't working and really work on that with her? I feel like his excuse is he can't focus on it because he has to focus on everyone. But then this, they're still individuals. There's no like group. There's no like cure for a problem that's going to involve the whole group if it's a problem with just one of the wives. It doesn't appear that Robin is having this problem. Janelle is as happy as can be, and Mary has a whole different issue. So he's going to have to work on things with each wife as an individual. But he never even mentions their marital problems. He mentions the relations between the sister wives and the locations of where they live. So the end of this episode really focuses on Isabelle going to New Jersey to have her surgery. The next scene we go into actually has the four wives, Cody and Isabelle, sitting there, and Christine is really talking about what the surgery is going to do and how Isabelle could possibly be over 6 feet tall afterwards. And Isabelle seems very excited by the prospect of being that tall and being out of pain. And Christine just seems like, you can see how this is something that has been on her mind and on her heart. Like, she is worrying about her daughter, and she loves the idea that this pain is going to be hopefully gone in a few weeks. Everything's kind of going smoothly. You do hear Cody talk about how he previously thought Christine was just doing this to get a vacation because she's going to be gone in New Jersey for 8 weeks. But he admits now that he just wasn't aware of the pain that Isabelle was in. So we kind of see them getting ready for the surgery. So the final part of this episode is focused specifically on Christine and Isabelle and Cody. And there's a scene where Cody is talking to Isabelle, and he says the stupidest thing. I'm floored that someone would think this was an appropriate thing to say to a child getting ready to go to surgery. He says, "You're not going to turn into a bitter housewife, are you?" Because he didn't show up. I just think it's weird to say. And I feel like he's trying to tell her it's not appropriate for you to feel sad. You shouldn't feel sad. He's telling her that instead of letting her really say how she feels. And she does tell how she really feels during one of the confessionals. Listen to what she says.
I need him to be there, but then why isn't he coming? I don't know, why wouldn't he be there? Why wouldn't he just drop everything for me? I think his priorities are a little screwed up.
And I think Isabelle's right. I think most viewers are watching this going, wow, you can't work out a way to go there because you'll miss out on too much time with the rest of the family. And we all know the rest of the family is really Robin because you don't see Mary, you don't see Christine, and we know you don't see Janelle. So this is really about going to see Robin and the children you have with her. It just ends on a really bad note. You can see Isabelle is sad, and you can see the interaction between Cody and Christine. There's a scene where they're standing outside by a truck and they're signing papers. And you guys, Cody is mean. He is mean to her. He really shuts her down and says, you're not social distancing. And she's trying to talk to him about the surgery. It is incredibly a cold, cold moment between the two of them. And she says, this isn't getting better. I don't care if he comes to support me. It doesn't matter. She talks about how it's weird when he's with her. So really the only reason he should be going to the surgery is for Isabelle because it's not going to help her in any way. She's not going to need his support. And that's kind of where this episode ends. You can definitely feel how cold their relationship is. You can pick up on that just as a viewer. So I felt like this was a really good episode. A lot of highs and lows in there, but you're starting to get a real glimpse of Christine and Cody. So if you want to stay around, you will be able to hear the recap of episode 4, and thanks for stopping by.